Good morning. I wonder if you've ever used the expression, it's time. It's time. And of course that can depend on its context, what it means. If you were dressed up in a suit or a dress and someone said it's time, and you know it's time to get to that wedding. Or if someone says to you it's time, and in my case when my wife says 4 times in our life it's time, you know it's time to get to that hospital for the birth of a little one. Or perhaps in your experience too, when a doctor or nurse says to you, it's time, and you recognise that a loved one's life is drawing to a close. It's time. But in John chapter 7, Jesus says it's not time. We're told in John 7 that the Jewish leaders were looking for ways to kill him. And his brothers also did not believe in Jesus. And we know that one of those brothers is James, for example, becomes the leader of the church in Jerusalem in the future, but at the moment now he does not believe. And in the conversation with Jesus, Jesus says, my time is not yet. For you, any time will do, he says. But my time is not yet fully come. We're told by David in the Psalms that our times are in his hand. What about Jesus? Now Jesus is following his Father's lead. He does, as he says in John chapter 5, only what he sees the Father do. And there will come a moment in Jesus' history and in the history of time where his face will be set, as Isaiah tells us, as a flint to go to Jerusalem to accomplish the Father's will. Jerusalem, that place that was prophesied that would happen, where that holy place is, and there's still a veil in front of the holy place that is yet to be ripped and torn. The place where 2 millennia before Abram had said to his son Isaac, God will provide a lamb. In that very place, on that very mount, God's timing is everything. And it got me to thinking that perhaps the earliest song that we have in the history of humankind, in Psalm 90, the words of Moses talks about God and time and us. He says in this psalm, from the beginning to the end, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. He says in this psalm, 70 years are given to us. He says also, teach us to number our days aright, or teach us the brevity of life, or teach us to live well so that we may gain a heart of wisdom. 70 years. Now for a younger person listening to this, that seems a long time. For those of us that are older, 70 years isn't long. Even 100 years in the whole sequence of time and history and God who stands outside time. It's good to know in the word of the song I learnt when I was younger, I do not know what lies ahead, the way I cannot see, but one stands near to be my guide and show the way to me. I know who holds the future and he guides me with his hand. 70 years, or as he puts in the psalm, 80 years if we have the strength. In Moses' case, of course, it was 120 years. So what kept Jesus going? What kept Moses going? What gives me, in the words of a song, strength to face the day? Well, I guess the answer's in that song too, because when we see you, we have strength to face the day. We're told of Jesus that for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. He will set his face as a flint to that moment, his destiny in time and history. For he knows the joy or that the good news that would spread the world as the light dawns from morning. In Psalm 90 verse 14, Moses says this, satisfy us in the morning with your unfailing love. And the word there, unfailing love, is the word in Hebrew chesed, which means it's a love of loving kindness that when we have the right to expect nothing from God, he gives us everything. Satisfy us in the morning with that love, God. Satisfy us in the morning. And it goes on to say that we will sing for joy and be glad all our days. Don't worry about the future. He has given me, he has given you today. The song 10,000 Reasons goes like this. The sun comes up. It's a new day dawning. It's time to sing your song again. Isn't that great? Today. So that satisfy us in the morning, today, now, with your love, with your unfailing love, that we may sing for joy and be glad all our days. It's time. It's time.